think whether we like it or not, it's coming. It will be here. Well, it is here. I think there's two paths. You can kind of delay it as far as possible, or you can kind of get ready. And that doesn't mean jumping in with both feet and
No, you've
automating
got to know what you're
everything.
doing.
It's got to be done sensibly and it's got to be handled very, very thoughtfully. But it's just about kind of opening that kind of doorway and getting ready for it.
Good morning, Dolly.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us. Yeah, thank you for taking the time out. So I'd just like to introduce Dolly Draper from The Hidden Margin, director at The Hidden Margin, kind of very much a cutting edge sort of like outfit that's out there that's hitting on the coalface and doing great things in industry.
Thank you.
So I think, Dolly, so first and foremost, let me just ask, yeah, just talk a little bit about The Hidden Margin, yourself, your, maybe where it started and where perhaps you want to go, or, just run us through that, please. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, no. I'm director, as you said, over at the Hidden Margin. I have been, for my sins, working in advertising and marketing for best part of 15 years. I've historically worked with a whole range of brands from small startups to major national retail brands and run every element of marketing through that. And then about 6 years ago, I actually shifted from being agency to in-house within a mortgage brokerage.
Excellent.
A lot of my friends kind of went, hang on, what are you doing?
What's happening? Yes.
Exactly. You've gone from handling multiple, maybe 15, 20 brands at a time to one. But honestly, it's been fascinating. It's kind of the one thing I now scream all the time is why are we not educating kids more about this, about the financial
Exactly.
worlds? And it sincerely felt like I kind of came to this underworld that was just all the mechanisms are happening underneath every day, and we're not
Right.
talking about it
Addressing
in the
it.
way
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
the things I've learned about economics and finance over the last 6 years, just by working with a lot of the brands, has been genuinely, sincerely mind-blowing.
Excellent.
We have such clever people in this country doing such clever and incredible work to
Yeah.
push the economy forward
Yeah.
and genuinely help everyday people to
Fantastic.
get housing, to get the money they need, to
Yeah.
be financially free, all these things. It's all happening, but we don't speak about it as much. So that was
Yeah.
amazing. And I got into all of that. And then it just so happened that the business that I was working for a few years ago got acquired by a bigger group.
Okay.
And as part of that, they then started to come to me for consultancy work and just saying, okay, this other brand doesn't have anyone within marketing. Please, can you help out? Which I did. And that kind of was so successful and great that we ended up forming the Hidden Margin. So we built it into its own entity. So I actually have two jobs. I'm full-time marketing manager within the brokerage still that I
Yeah.
joined 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I run the Hidden Margin, which is incredible because it allows me to kind of take learnings
Yeah.
from each of the brands, and that covers the Hidden Margin will work with first charge mortgage brokers. It will
Right.
work with second charge loan companies. We
Right.
work with insurance companies. We work with a
Right.
wide spectrum in the financial sector, and it's great
Excellent.
because you can take snippets from all.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, obviously, it's a very much a full onslaught for you, which is good, which is very good. Interestingly, when you spoke about education, financial education, just for everyday people, it's so important. Things like even how to use Excel sheets or how to do your taxes, all these kind of things. I just wish, I wish they taught that kind of thing at school. I think it would really,
Oh, yeah.
it would really go a long way. Yeah, brilliant.
I was floored by when I joined the business, friends of mine, personal friends of mine,
Yeah.
who are successful and everything, coming to me and being like, "Can you explain how this happened? Yeah, can you explain how this mortgage
Yeah,
works?"
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and I got kind of everyone, and it was amazing. It's like, well, we should be talking about this more. We should make
Yeah,
this more approachable
of
because
course.
for everyone deserves
Yeah,
to
you
understand it
need to
and be
know it.
informed.
Yeah, everybody has to have the time, the space to address
Mm,
it and progress. Brilliant.
yeah.
So obviously that will sort of comes on to my next question, in terms of regulation and everything like that, because obviously, the financial sector that you're in, it's, compliance and trust is just everything. It's paramount, isn't it? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
so how would you say that the current wave of sort of like advertising disruption, maybe in terms of things like data privacy or, I don't know, um, platform policy or whatever, how's it creating operational friction or risk for you in your particular positions?
so there's obviously two ways you can look at it. From a compliance point of view,
Yeah,
we've obviously had the introduction of consumer duty and obviously tightenings of lots of regulations come within the last couple of years.
yeah,
But I always believe at the end of the day, they're there. When I'm having discussions with the compliance team and trying to get content through and negotiate what that is can
yeah.
be a headache. But also you've got to have it in the back of your head. At the end of the day, they're trying to protect the client
Right,
and they're
right.
trying to protect the borrower and just
Yeah,
make sure again that every single person is entering into a financial product
yeah,
fully with their eyes open.
yeah,
And as much as it can add additional pressures and add extra hoops to jump through,
yeah.
that's completely right.
Right.
Um, so it's just about, and actually, weirdly, that's one of the successes that we've had and why the hidden margin was born.
Excellent.
So many of the brands that we were working with, or I just was in conversation with, they would come to me and say, "Oh, we've had a marketing agency before, but the problem is they give me a generic campaign, and that's
Yeah,
they don't understand the product." Now, the reason why we've ended up with a specialism of mostly financial brands is because I've been working in a brokerage for 6 years. So I understand compliance, I
yeah,
understand FCA rules, I
yeah.
understand you can't say this, you can't say that, you're
Mhm.
not allowed to do this on Google Ads, the verification process that happens in the background.
Yeah,
So what that means is the brands that engage with us can kind of hit the ground running a lot faster
great.
because I already know I can cut through that and go, okay, I can do you a campaign. The
Yeah,
copy that I will write will be compliant.
right.
I know that we've got to go to this AR to get
Yeah,
this. So
yeah.
um, it's that's weirdly been kind of one of our benefits of, and this is why we work the way we work. So because
Excellent.
we understand it, we know it, and we will only ever recommend campaigns and marketing and ads
Yeah,
that will work because it wastes their time, it wastes ours. If we're going to do something, be like, this is great, and
yeah. I mean, things have obviously changed. I would say in the past, like how is it different now to when you first started, out in your career? Or let's say no, let's say just going back about 6, 7 years, because there's been shifts. There's been
oh
significant
yeah.
shifts. How would you say, what are the differences? The fundamental differences?
Fundamental, well, probably the biggest one I've seen is in Google Ads. Definitely in Google Ads. I've been running accounts, as say, many, many years. They made a change a couple of years ago where actually, so ye old time, it used to just be that you would open an account, you would set up your ads, set up your copy, and off you would go. Now, actually, to be a financial brand on Google Ads, you have to go through verification process. You have to, whether you're directly authorized or whether you're um, go through as an AR, so an authorized representative of a
Yeah,
network,
yeah, yeah,
then what you have to do is go through Google's process because what they're doing is they're working quite closely now with the FCA to make sure, and it's a good thing,
yeah.
um, that the ads that go out that could encourage people to get into a new product are correct,
Right.
aren't
Are
misleading,
compliant. Yeah,
are
yeah,
compliant.
yeah,
So it means there's probably lots more steps for us as marketers to get through to make sure that it's in, and there's
yeah,
more kind of
yeah,
verification processes. But again, at the end of the day, it means that ads will be to a standard. They won't be misleading,
yeah,
and as an industry, there is this kind of unfairly, I think there's this thing of mistrust. Oh, it's
yeah.
financials, it's mistrust. There, I'd like to say, my experience so far is just wonderful people trying to
Cool.
do a good job
Yeah.
and trying to do the right thing by their clients.
Right.
Um, so hopefully, what that'll mean is with all the verifications that are coming through,
Yep.
um, the good people will come to the forefront.
Right. The cream will rise to the top.
The
Okay.
cream will rise to the top.
The cream will rise to the top. So let's just say, I mean, you're talking about creativity and compliance and everything. So how do you balance the need for like a disruptive high performing sort of like ad creative, right? Which is what you have to, with the kind of very strict, regulatory, requirements, which is obviously part of the financial sector. How do you do that? What part of that process feels the most manual or prone to error, or you might find challenging? Which areas would you feel? Uh,
I think
yeah,
I think the main thing, like I say, if you're working with good people, which I'm very lucky and privileged to
yeah,
do, it kind of makes it easy.
right,
Generally within marketing, and especially within financials, it's less about the brand and the product, and it's more about the advisor and the trust.
okay,
So in terms of cutting through, there are a million and one financial brands out there. So the differentiator between them is the people within it.
right,
So, in terms of marketing, it's a lot more about bringing the people forward and the expertise forward and the authenticity forward,
yeah,
as opposed to the product and the
right,
sale and the offer.
okay,
So, it's just about me personally, and there's lots of ways you could do marketing.
yeah,
No one is necessarily more right than the other.
right,
It's
right,
for me, I will always kind of tailor it to the product, to the audience, to the demographic.
yeah,
Um, but for me, for especially from my experience within financials, it's about bringing the advisor and the people forward as opposed to the product. So it's just about when you are writing copy,
yeah,
keeping that in the back of your mind. On
excellent,
top of that, Google have made lots of changes in the last couple of years, again, about bringing authority forward, reviews forward, testimonials,
right,
um, knowledge content led for knowledge led content forward. So again, if you were writing, whether it's site links, copy, anything to do it, then keeping that in mind
yeah.
means that one, it is compliant and it's engaging and shows the trust, but two, it's actually probably more engaging for the person reading it.
So let's just say perhaps in, like customer acquisition, your costs, advertising, you spoke about Google Ads and everything like that. So, in terms of say what would you say is perhaps is the most significant challenge you face in terms of advertising the platforms and, when things are becoming a lot more complex and competitive with all these spend and all the acquisition and all the things that you need to do? Or what has become kind of compulsory now, you know?
Yeah. Advertising costs have gone up,
Yeah,
and financials is one of the most competitive and higher
yeah,
costs. The thing that I have regular contact meetings with Google strategists, in-house Google strategists, to pilot products for them, to discuss strategy with them, to talk about optimizations that would work on our side that we can discuss. Um, and probably the hardest thing that to when speaking to them is, um, if we sold t-shirts, it would be super easy. The value of the value of a t-shirt or whatever product it is, if it's
yeah,
e-commerce,
yeah,
the value of the product is this.
yeah,
They put it into the basket, they buy it. You've spent X amount of advertising to get them that. You
yeah,
can really clearly do it.
right,
Financials is nowhere near that. Financials is you pay the cost for the advert,
yeah,
the client sees it, the client inquires. You have to then speak to them to make sure that they fit the product.
yeah,
There is a longer life cycle with them because you might speak to a client today, they might enter the mortgage process, they might not complete for 3 months if it's a complex transaction. And one deal could be worth
well,
two
it's high
hundred thousand
ticket.
pounds.
Yeah, it's high ticket.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but varied high ticket on top of that. So one
yeah,
deal might be 200 grand, one deal might be 20 million,
right, yeah,
and they could come from the same campaign.
right,
So how do you attribute that? So
yeah,
when you're attributing and trying to feed the algorithms information of what is a good lead,
yeah,
then how do you attribute that? Because
right,
one inquiry from the same campaign can come in and it could be a week's worth, 2 weeks worth, 2 months
yeah,
worth, and one could come in and you could be working on that intensively for 6 months. So it's
right.
really difficult,
To
especially and then
segmentation. Yeah,
to segment it and stuff. One of the biggest things that we actually found with especially with finance, because the competition is so fierce,
yeah,
is for example, if you were is getting away from the generic.
Right.
So really understanding the brand's niches and the client's niche. So for example, if it's a portfolio landlord, then they don't need ads that are saying, what is a buy to let? Because they probably already have five already. So for those people, it would be talking about Section 162 relief. It would be talking about portfolio incorporation. So it's making sure that instead of going after the kind of very competitive high words like buy to let rate, buy to
Yeah.
let, best buy to let rate,
Yeah.
you're going after the ones that are kind of the long tail, smaller ones to kind of cut through that competition and get through.
Right.
Probably the biggest challenge I've actually had over certainly the last year,
Yeah.
is actually Google itself. In terms of, I've run ad campaigns for best part of 15 years,
Yeah.
and there's been more changes to the actual platform and how it operates in the last year than in the rest of the time. And that's obviously the introduction of AI. So obviously they've made huge steps in the last year to push everything to AI based, AI
Yeah.
modeling, AI PMax as it's referred to,
Yeah.
Performance Max,
Yeah. Yeah.
all of this kind of thing. That's the big push. I have tried it with several brands.
Right.
I don't think it's quite there yet,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in the search area.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing is instead of saying, I want this ad with this copy,
Yeah.
then you need to give it, here's a bunch of copy.
Yeah. Here's a bunch of sort of like alternatives, something to look at.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you decide. And then you've got to be
Yeah.
really careful of how it all pins in and make sure. So it's Google Ads is going through a real
Yeah,
transition at the
it
minute.
is, it is. So let's say if we look, like 18 months down the line, or you've mentioned, some of the, the changes, the disruptions, and everything like that. What specific capabilities or efficiencies would you want to have that would make life a lot easier for you, for your, for operations or efficacy, or what do you think? If you're looking at the present sort of like disruptions or challenges.
Um, it's interesting. In the last 6 years, the one question I am asked all the time is,
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on AI in
yeah,
marketing?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, I get asked that all the time, and I know
yeah,
that at first I was quite resistant into not resistant, but I was kind of, how's this going to happen? And it was
yeah,
at the start, it was all, are you using ChatGPT to write your copy?
yeah,
And that was the main thing. That was the big thing. And I think now it's a case of the technology has and the capabilities of it have moved on so
yeah,
much
very much.
that in the even last year, blown by what you can do now. An example, previously you would be looking at demographics. Is it female or male? What's the age range? What's the income range? And instead of it just being those parameters now, AI can really pick up on things like affordability,
Yeah,
intent.
yeah,
It can look at lots more kind of softer signals
yeah,
to actually make sure that less waste of budget, the ads are more targeted.
yeah,
I think there's been a shift in terms of customer usage as well.
yeah. Okay.
Um, People don't want to be sold products. They want to
Right.
be informed. It's
Yeah,
about
yeah,
education and
yeah.
it's about them being informed in the
Enlightenment.
process.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, 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 yeah.
They'll have searched on TikTok, they'll have searched on Instagram. They don't want to be told what to have. They kind of want to go with someone on the journey. So those signals and those kind of slightly softer dynamics are going to be king moving forward.
Right.
Um, Personalization is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Instead of sending out broad spectrum campaigns to cover everyone, then really fine
Fine tune.
personalizations,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
really fine tune
yeah,
are going
yeah,
to be paramount in terms of upping conversions.
yeah,
The biggest thing that I've actually noticed, and probably the main work that I've been doing over the last genuine 9 months a year, is brands, especially in the financial sector,
yeah. I
looking
was
at
about to
life
say
cycle.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, looking at life cycle moments.
Right.
So things about, let's look at the customer journey
Yeah.
and understand the moments in that journey that they can. So when does their mortgage renew?
Right.
Okay, can we speak to them then? When will there be lifestyle changes that could impact their protection policy? Can we get ahead of that? Can we speak to them about that? Can we nourish that relationship at different points as opposed to that transactional? You come, you put it in the basket, you buy it, you're out. It's about genuinely walking beside them now and kind of looking at their life as opposed to transaction. So it's a
Yeah.
bit of a flip.
Yeah.
Um, and that's on the consumer side. On the actual broker kind of advisor side, um, it's about using AI and the capabilities to take off some of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
automated emails. So the
Yeah.
product's going to renew on the product end date is coming up in 6 months. Send an automated system email out to
Yeah.
nudge the client and warm them up for you.
Yeah.
So instead of you kind of
Coming
battering them
cold. Yeah.
exactly, can you warm them up slightly
Yeah.
so that they expect your call
Yeah.
and you have far better conversion rates when you do get the call? It's a yeah, it's about looking at the life cycles now a lot
Yeah.
more in terms of human
Yeah.
as opposed to the life cycle of a transaction. So
Right. Yeah. So it's got to be kind of ideation, personalization, all that kind of thing.
100%.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So
People filter.
people falter.
We
So
we filter. We
get
filter a
filter.
lot more.
Yes.
We don't
Yes.
the analogy I always give is albums. Back in the day you would buy an album, you would put it on, you would listen
Yeah.
to the whole album.
Yeah.
Well, people pick and choose now. We stream.
Of course. Yeah.
And it's the same. People don't have time for the full thing. They want just to get, instead of having broad spectrum email campaigns, they want the campaigns that I see do really well is, hi, Dolly, your product will new on, there's the date.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is for property address. These are ones
Yeah.
they want it filtered down, specifically
Yeah.
personalized to them.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons, one of the challenges that people tend to have when it comes to accepting AI, you hear this all the time. Oh, it's too vanilla, it's too generic, and I think
Yeah.
that So now what you need to do definitely is that it just needs to be sort of like personal. It needs to be speaking directly to to the prospect or the client or whatever. So that kind of brings me. We've been speaking about some of the challenges, the changes, the disruptions. So, when you're, say, evaluating new advertising technologies or perhaps automation tools, you spoke about automation tools, what
Yeah.
is the biggest hurdle to its adoption within a regulated environment like the financial sector? Is it integration? Is it security? Or is it the validation process? What are the real sort of like the heavy challenges, or which part of that is that?
From experience and looking at
Yeah,
some of the integrations we've done in terms of chatbots, whether that's front end, back end, there's
yeah,
lots of integrations happening with companies in terms of utilizing technologies like video. So
yeah,
instead of just firing out an email and hoping that the client will pick it up, it's can we use WhatsApp? Can we use
yeah,
video to cut through that noise?
yeah,
Um, and with that, it's obviously ensuring that everything is compliant in terms of data, ensuring that everything is secure. So within the brands that I work with, we always use secure platforms, things that are
yeah,
encrypted, making sure, and quite understandably, and I would want any business using my own personal data for it to be secure and protected.
definitely,
And
definitely.
I always try and bring it back to, if I was the client in that space, I would want to make sure that my data's not being given out, my
Yeah,
data's not
it's not
being
being sold
so
on or whatever. Yeah,
100%. And again, the financial sector runs off trust.
yeah,
It's 100%, the foundation is trust. So we've got to just make sure that we 100% protect that,
yeah,
and do everything within our power to make sure that there is that trust there and it remains. So yeah, so in terms of integration, it's just about, can we make sure that this API talks to this one securely? Have we covered everything that we need to within privacy policies? Is there a way that we can actually better inform the client of what's going on and clarify data, how it's handled, all that thing? It's about transparency in it. So that's probably the thing that I would have first and foremost with any project.
yeah,
And then it would be the kind of technology. CRM build and the back end systems that all the businesses are working are now becoming exceptionally smart in what they can do. So it's about harnessing that, but as I say, keeping the client in the middle of it.
brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, so I know that we've just spoken. Well, we've just spoken a lot, a bit about it. So you kind of preempted my next probe, so to speak. Let's say, with third-party data becoming sort of like less reliable, so how is your specific team? How are they adapting to its data infrastructure to ensure that it's accurate, it's compliant, and, in terms of high-value transactions? Because, high-value transactions, so it's specifically sensitive. I know I worked in, one of the things that I did, I worked in where, yeah, HR kind of thing, and it was sort of like adapting people's payrolls and switching from this to that, and transformation and uploading onto the cloud. And when it comes to money, people are so sensitive. They're
Yes.
always like, so it's really, you're walking on eggshells, aren't you? So how are you adapting to that?
Yeah, I think it's obviously in a weird way, it's about giving the teams confidence and just making sure you have the
Yeah,
technology to, and there's so many solutions now, so many encryption services and cloud encryptions that you can use that I actually don't think it's that much of a barrier anymore.
okay.
So it's just making sure instead of kind of, you would never email even the teams that I work, we would never email another team member with sensitive information within the email. You wouldn't attach the client's emails to it. Then it would be put into a secure location, and then the person emailed and said, "Go over here. It's in the secure log."
Yeah,
So it's just about making sure that the teams have adopted into that
yeah,
from off. So part of initial training for everyone is you don't ever attach anything to emails. You would do it this way and everything else. So it's not necessarily that much of a barrier. It's always kind of when there's any APIs, then just taking a step back and looking at the map of, okay, well, the information comes in here.
yeah,
A lot of it at the moment is that is that taking a step back
yeah.
and process mapping. Okay, it comes in here. What do we do with it then? It goes there.
Yeah.
No problem. We'll handle it here. So we need secure, 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 secure. We're
Excellent,
covered.
excellent.
We work, so the different brands that I personally work with
Yeah,
are under different networks.
yeah,
So it's about having content contacts within the different networks to just go, hey, we're thinking of doing this. Can you just run your eyes over it?
yeah,
And just making sure that someone within compliance has had kind of sight on everything to make sure that we are compliant and everything's covered. And many people can, there might be kind of someone who will say, oh, have you thought about this? No, I haven't. Amazing, let's work together. So it's about that kind of collaboration. For me, it's not about seeing compliance as the big bad demon of compliance. It's about their protection, their support. They're there to protect me
yeah,
and also protect the client. So
yeah.
collaboration, it has to be
Collaboration,
that way.
collaboration. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it
definitely.
has to be that way.
Get
We've got to
burn
kind
down
of
the
deep,
silos. Burn down the silos. Yeah.
literally, and that's kind of where we've built from. It's a case of we will work, and it's astonishing. I went to a conference the other day, and it was so wonderful, and the warmth that radiated in
Yeah.
the room. And it was someone within, say, a mortgage company was speaking to a second charge loan company, and trading off, oh well, we do it this way, oh I
Yeah.
haven't thought about that, we
Oh,
can do that as well.
yeah.
And sharing the ideas across the industry to make sure that we kind of as an industry move forward, not as a, well, I'm a brokerage over here or
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
firm
Yeah.
over here. It's
Yeah.
about kind of, and as I say, I have to say, for all the brands that I've been very lucky to work with within the sector, there is that warmth and there is that kind of let's share, let's help,
Yeah.
let's support. We're all fighting the same
Proactivity.
fight.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Fantastic. So there are lots of moving pieces in the
Yes.
financial advertising world. That is obviously apparent. So what would you say is the single highest strategic priority for you right now that must be solved? There might be many, but what would you, if you could single out one particular priority to be solved this quarter to maintain a competitive edge? Because I believe, something, it's really strange when you talk to different people, different businesses and everything, a lot of people, not everybody wants to, rule the world. Nobody, no, it's not everybody wants to have a, great big empire. A lot of people are very comfortable within their own particular sector, with their own particular brand of clients or, whatever, this and that. But then I know that most people definitely, I know in my business, I know in everybody, all the businesses that I've been in, they always want some sort of operational optimization, efficiency.
Yeah.
There's got to be some things that have been done traditionally, or perhaps there are new ways of doing it and this and that, considering, so what would you say if you can think, rack your brain, Dolly, and if you can think of something perhaps that immediately comes to mind? Yeah.
There are lots of ways to look at it. I
Yeah.
think more than anything right now, it's about kind of really getting to grips with the process within the business, um, and also getting AI ready. I
Yeah.
think whether we like it or not, it's coming. It will be here. Well, it is here. So I think there's two paths. You can kind of delay it as far as possible, or you can kind of get ready. And that doesn't mean jumping in with both feet and
No, you've
automating
got to know what
everything.
you're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
It's got to be done sensibly and it's got to be handled very, very thoughtfully. But it's just about kind of opening that kind of doorway and getting ready for it. For example, there's been massive changes in the last couple of months with Google search. So instead of you getting the search results, you now get the AI mode um, description. So making sure that your website's ready, your campaigns are ready for that, that you're within that noise, as opposed to taking a step back and then kind of getting in later. And it can be small tweaks like simple optimizations on your website. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach, but it's just kind of starting to put the parameters ready that it's coming. We're here. We are going to get into automated workflows. We are going to be getting into AI segmentation. We will go there. And I think I'm seeing more and more brands adopt this. Um, and I think the bedrock of that will come from really, really understanding the client and understanding that life cycle. Um, just preparing for that. I think 2026 is going to be a huge
It
year for
is.
AI.
It is. So just like, let's say, for instance, I know that apart from just working with the financial sector, part of the things that you do is that you help particular, people in the financial sector to sort of to promote, I guess, I don't know, lead generation and all that kind of stuff. Has it been challenging, or do you find that you've been adapting effectively, or are some of them resistant to change? What do you think?
One, yeah, I think everyone's kind of got they know they need it, but they don't kind of know what
Yeah.
they want. And I think it's fascinating for me. I'll talk to brands, and I think when they hear marketing, some of them will automatically think that means Google Ads, that means PPC.
Well,
That's marketing.
yeah.
And there's so much more, and we're actually seeing a
Yeah.
shift now. Completely now, it's about the advisor, and it's about, as I say, the people and the knowledge within. So marketing that cuts through now is going to be people that can get onto things like um, white papers, embracing things like traditional marketing, so stuff sent through the post. It will be a lot more about event marketing. It's a huge thing that I'm seeing right now is let's get in front of like physically get in front of the client. Um, it's not just about sending an email and throwing an ad out anymore. It's going to be really about adopting lots of channels,
Yeah.
omni-channel,
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah.
channels, and doing it. It's traditionally it would be you put a website up, you throw some ads, you're great,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's not that anymore.
it's not that anymore. We speak to companies and this and that, and there are some companies that kind of it's like a hurdle. They have to sort
Yeah,
of like to jump over that hurdle, and I've got actually some examples of how some companies have done it. And I don't know. I could share that with you. I could put down some
amazing.
bullet points. I could share that with you. Maybe, well, not now, but I could put down some bullet points, and I could share with you how they had done it. How they
Yeah,
had sort of like successfully transitioned. Yeah, so definitely it's brilliant.
it's a lot of people go, oh well, I don't have social media, and as I say, I think people have a quite understandably, if you're not in marketing, why would you know it? They have
Yeah,
an idea of what marketing
yeah,
is, and for me, it's about a lot more of and sitting with them a bit more time, so a bit more at the kind of front end. Okay, tell me what your client is. Okay,
yeah,
how did you find that client?
yeah,
What do you do with them? And again, mapping out that process because the
yeah.
recommendations that I would be given to brands might be, do you know what? Don't bother with
Don't
social media. You don't need it.
you don't need
You
it. Yeah,
don't need it. It's waste of
yeah,
time, waste of budget. Don't do it. Leave it alone. What you
yeah,
actually need to do is X, Y, Z. Or it could just be, I've spoken to brands recently. Do you know what? The only thing you need to do is you need to update your website. That's it.
yeah,
That's all you need to
yeah,
do. So it's not about completely taking over.
No, 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 no. It's never about that. And also AI, the other misconception that a lot of people have about AI is that they feel that it's exactly what you're saying, like you're completely taking over, or
Yeah.
perhaps, it's like it's like changing a whole legacy system, or, but it's not necessarily like that. It's just sometimes it could be certain simple solutions, that will really effectively change everything, that will really change everything. Yeah.
The interesting point you made earlier was that you found people that have kind of used ChatGPT and said it was generic. And it's a case of the skills and the people that will win this next phase are
Yeah.
the people that have the base knowledge
Yeah.
and can push the prompts. So
That's
you
it.
get the initial prompt
Yeah.
and you keep pushing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not about necessarily putting in, I need X and
No, no,
taking
no.
what it gives. You've got to keep pushing in.
It's not about using it as Google, It's a lot of people
Uh-huh.
make that particular mistake, that yeah.
I have the perfect example. A company came to me and it was actually the owner of a very good AI chatbot company. And he
Okay.
said, oh, I've got this new piece of software, this new, and I can't remember the name. It was
Yeah.
like, and you give it a prompt
Yeah.
and it will build you a website.
Excellent.
And I
Wow.
was like, great, no problem. Now I realized that the thing, and he was like, you're a web designer. I am a web designer.
Yeah.
Can you have a look at it? And I said, no problem. And I had a look at it. And for all intents and purposes, it was a website. It
Yeah.
worked. But if you
But
don't have the base knowledge of what a good layout
website is,
is,
yeah.
what a good website, how optimization should work,
Yeah.
then what was given out was quite generic. So
Yeah.
I said, how honest do you want me to be?
Right.
Um, and I said, you've missed this. We need to move this. This should be bolder. You need to
Yeah.
move these around. So I don't ever think we are, and I think this is people's fear.
Yeah.
AI will not take over yet. You still need the
No.
human in the
No.
loop. You've still got to have the base knowledge. If you
Yeah.
don't understand marketing, web design,
Yeah.
people, then all the prompts in the world are not going to bring you back what you want. You've got to be
No.
able to kind of use the AI and then kind of challenge it.
Yeah, no, what it is that the AI is not necessarily specific. Well, it is specific tools, but it's integration. It's an outcome. It's like delivering an outcome. Which is really interesting. So,
Hmm.
thank you so much, Dolly, and it's
You're
been
welcome.
great talking to you. And I'm going to stop the recording now. And yeah, just